Welcome to this channel. My name is Obolade Adeyemi. I remain your fashion teacher, the CEO of La Riche Designs. In today's training, we are going to teach you how to sew your underbust blouse, like the one I'm putting on. I only try to make the down part two-step flare, just ordinary flare. I added a little pleat because of the excess I added to this. And this is the sleeve I used. It's just a peplum sleeve here. This part is just a circle, then the extension of the long sleeve, so it's very simple to achieve. And we have few chapters to this, to achieving this underbust blouse. We have how to draft the blouse, how to cut your pattern, how to cut it out on fabric, how to cut it out on lining, and how to sew it on fabric. And don't forget, what we do is conceal sewing. Everything has to be concealed. If you're new to this channel, please, we need you to subscribe to this channel, like, drop your comments, ask your questions, any observation. Stay tuned. Hello, welcome back to this channel. My name remains Omolade Adeyemi. I'm still your fashion teacher. So this topic is going to be how to sew our underbust contouring blouse. We've drafted the blouse. This is the front, this is the side front pattern. The fabric and the lining, I've cut it. This is the center back. I've cut the fabric and also the lining. This is the center front. I've cut it out of fabric and the lining. And this is the side back. I've cut it out on fabric and lining. And the style is going to be a two-step peplum blouse. So I've cut the two-step. This one is going to be under, and this is going to be on top of it. So let's get to work. I've removed the patterns on each fabric. So the next thing is to join the pieces together. So I'm going to start with the front fabric. To join the fronts together, I'm going to start with the front first. So I forgot to do something. I usually notch the zip side of my pattern. So I think this is the zip. So I've done it on my fabric. So I need to do it on the lining also. So this is the zip side. I've notched it. And this is the upper part. I've notched it on the fabric, so I want to notch it out on the lining also. So this is it. I'll set this aside. I'll put the back pieces aside and the lining of the front. So let's start joining the fronts. This is the center front. I'm going to place the side front on it this way and sew it down by quarter at 0.25. So let's join it down by quarter. So we are done joining this side. So the next thing is to join the other side. So we are going to join this part also by quarter. So let's join the other side. So this is the outcome of it. So we're going to iron it out with our ball, with our breast ball. So it's called the breast ball. So we are going to iron that part out with this ball. So let's join the other pieces together first, then go to our ironing table. So this is the lining. We are going to join the front lining together. This is center front and this is the side front. So we'll place it together like this and start and join it by quarter, the same way we did for the Kampala fabric just now. You need to be careful so that you follow the shape that you have on the fabric, so that you don't deform the shape. So this is one side of it. So we are going to join the other side. This is the other side of it. So I'm going to join it like this. So the next thing is to move to the back piece. This is the back piece. This is the center piece, the center fabric, the center piece of the Kampala. This is the center lining. This is the center side back of the Kampala, and this is the side back of the lining. So let's join it together. So I'm going to pick this side. Remember, I've notched the zip side. This is the zip side. The zip side are going to face each other like this. And the side piece is going to be by it like this. It's going to be beside it like this. And this one beside it like this. So it's going to be like this. So what I'm going to do now is, since this is the zip side, I'm going to pick this side piece, hold it with this part, move this aside, join this part first. The allowance I left there, I think, is quarter 0.25. Let's check to confirm what I left for the allowance. Yes, it is quarter. It is quarter, and this is 1 inch. So I'm going to join it together by 0.25. That is quarter. And remember, this side is like this. This part is like this. So I'm going to join it together like this. Please, you need to measure it. Maybe because I'm joining it without measuring, because I knew what I'm doing, because I already know the measurements. So don't sew without knowing the measurements. So that's that about the fabric. So let's join the lining together. So this is the outcome of the joining. It's going to be like this. The outcome. So let's put this aside and fix the lining. So the lining also is going to be like this. So you need to set what you want to sew before you keep doing it, so as not to make mistake. So it's going to be like this at the end of the day. So you join this together with this, like this. Put this aside a little. Then join it down by 0.25. Then this part is going to be joined like this. This is the outcome. So the next thing we are going to do now is to iron each pieces out. But before we iron it out, I'm going to join the lining of the peplum top, which is the down part. I'm going to join it around it so as to iron everything together once. So this is the peplum. This is the longer part. So this is the down part of our peplum. I want to sew the down part because I'm still going to iron it out by ½ inch. So I'm going to join it together by ½ inch. So you need to take the ½ inch measurement before sewing it down, before joining it to your lining. You need to measure the ½ inch either on the fabric or the lining so that you see. Just need to take the measurements on the part that you'll be seeing. So which is this part that you want to join. So if the lining is going to be at the upper part, so you need to measure the ½ inch, mark it down on the lining, then you can, so that you can, for easy sewing. As you can see, what I use is ST. I use ST for our peplum. I did not use the peplum stay because I don't want this blouse to have a standing flare like the other ones we've been doing. This is the other part of this peplum because I told you it's a 2-step peplum. So this is the next step. I'm going to join the lining the same way I just did. I'm going to join this part by ½ inch also. So I've ironed out each part. I've ironed out the back. This is the back. I've ironed it out. This is it. Then the front, I've also ironed it out with the ball, with the underbust shaping ball. So I've ironed each point out. Then also I've ironed out the flare. I've ironed it out accordingly the way it should be. I've ironed it out. This is the smallest step of the flare. And the longest part I've also ironed it out. This is it. I've ironed it out. So this is it. So the next thing we are going to do now is to sew the neckline, is to join the necklines together. So we are starting with the front and putting the back aside. So we want to join the neckline now. So we're going to pick the front, the Kampala and the lining together. So it's going to be like this. As you can see, this part is going to face this part of the fabric. So I'm going to merge the two together like this. The same way we've been sewing our neckline. So the next thing I'm going to do now is I'm going to pin the part down so that we'll have equal length, equal pieces, equal joining, so that one will not be longer than the other. So the next thing is to sew it down by 1/2 inch. You measure 1/2 inch from here to this point. Then we'll keep sewing. So the next thing we are going to do that we all know is to, sorry, I want to cut the thickness of this side off. So that part will feel relaxed. So the next thing is to notch. So we need to be careful with our notching. We need to be careful with the notching. After this, the next thing we're going to do is to top stitch. And like I always say, you're going to top stitch on this part of the lining. So it's going to be here, not here. You're not going to do it like this. It's not going to be like this, but like this. So then we're going to notch top stitch, which is close to the first stitches. So this is going to be the outcome. This is it. So the next thing is to move to the back. So we'll do the same thing to the back to turn the neckline. We're going to turn the neckline of the back, placing it this way. This part is facing this part, and this part is backing They are backing each other like this. Let us open it down. So we are going to join this part by 1/2 inch. But before we move on, you know we have zip at the back. So we are going to measure the zip allowance, which is 1 inch. Going to measure it and start sewing on that point. We are not going to start sewing from the beginning of the fabric. We're going to start the sewing from that 1 inch point. So you're going to join it by 1/2 inch. Look at the way I'm joining this part. You move out to where the 1/2 inch on this side is. Then leave the needle inside, raise the foot up, turn it this way, and drop it. That is, if you really want to achieve that neckline, that is how you're going to do it. Remove the spin also. Repeat the other parts. We'll do the same thing. So I'm going to join it also by 1/2 inch. But before that, I'm going to measure the zip allowance on this part, the same way I did to the other side. So I'll measure 1 inch for zip allowance, so that I'm going to stop the sewing there. So continue by 1/2 inch. So chop off the thread, remove the pins. So the next thing is to notch, top stitch, to notch and top stitch. So after that, you're going to top stitch. So we are going to iron out the neckline now. We're going to iron it out before joining the shoulder and every other part. So let's iron it out. So the next thing I'm going to do now is to join the shoulder together. So the shoulder will be joined like this. Each point of the sewing is going to face each other like this. So the lining will come to the lining. The Kampala will go to the Kampala. I'm going to join this down by 1/2 inch. So the next thing is to join the other side. The Kampala is going to face the Kampala like this. We're going to face each other like this. Then we'll join it down by 1/2 inch. This is the outcome of it. It's going to be like this. This part also is going to be like this, and the back. So the next thing now we are going to do is to join the sides. We are going to start with the side. You can see the way I turn it. I have to turn it this way. So we join the sides of the Kampala to the front and the back of the Kampala together first, before we join the lining. So this is it, and we're going to sew that down by 1 inch. First, you're going to make sure the shoulder relax this way. I mean the arm will relax together this way. Make sure the down part also is together. Make sure the down part is equal. If the down part is equal, every other part will fix in itself. So you're going to join it by 1 inch. So let me turn it out this way so that I can see what I'm joining. So measure 1 inch go through. And sew it straight to this down part. So let's go. So the next thing is to join the other side of the fabric. It's to join it like this. You make sure it's not more than 1 inch, because if you pick more than 1 inch, it means you're reducing your measurement. So you need to make sure it's 1 inch. So this is going to be the outcome. So the next thing we are going to do is to pick the sides of the lining. The outcome is going to be like this. So the next thing is to pick the sides of the lining. Like this. It's going to be like this. So you're going to pick it this way. Remember, it's a concealed sewing, so you're going to pick it this way also. Make sure the down part is equal, the same level. So we join it down by 1 inch. So we'll chop off the thread. So the next thing is the other side. So you're going to pick it the same way. So make sure the down part is equal. So we're going to join it by 1 inch. So we lock it up. So we are done with joining the side. The next thing is going to be the peplum. We are going to join the peplum together, then attach it to the down part. This is how it's going to be on this part. So this is it on the other side. So this is how the outcome is going to be. So you're going to fix in the breast inside like this. So we still need to iron out the breast area very well so as to feel relaxed before concealing every part. So we need to iron this part. You can see there's still a bulginess at this part. So we need to iron it out, and also this part. So we still need to iron it out. So let's prepare the peplum before going to iron out this part. So like I said, it's a 2-step peplum. So the Kampala is going to be on top of this. So I'm going to hold the Kampala lining. I'm going to hold the Kampala together like this. Pull down the lining of the longer part. Then join. I'm going to hold this together like this. I'm going to pin it together. So I'm going to pin it all through. As you can see, I'm holding the lining of the Kampala together. So we're going to hold it down with our pin. Or better still, we join it together. We sew it down. So we can sew it down so that we won't be having issues when we are joining it to the upper parts with this. The pin will not be giving us issues. So let's sew that together. Let's join it together. So I'm removing the pin. We're just going to join it together towards the tip of the flare, not to the 1/2 inch point. It's just to hold the two together, nothing else. Just to hold the two together. As you can see, I'm pushing down the longer lining, and the shorter lining and the peplum is together. They are together. So this is one now. So we've treated it as one. So the next thing is to place it on the upper part of our material. Sorry, of the blouse. So but before we fix into the upper part of the blouse, we need to iron out the breast area I told you about. So let's iron out that part, then join the down part of our materials together. So we iron the breast area like this. We iron it out like this. You don't just position it, we position it this way. You see the round surface of the ball. We place our bust area on it. So we're going to post our bust area on it. So not like this. It's not going to be iron like this, else you're giving it another shape. So you're going to end at the underbust part. This is the underbust area. So you're going to end it there. Then iron it this way, like this. Like this. Following the shape, you're just going to follow the shape of the ball. You need to follow the shape you have on the ball. You need to iron it out very well. You won't mind the numbers of minutes or minutes you're using ironing, as long as the outcome gives us what we want. So you iron it through. So this is the peplum. I hold it down, sew it down so that the two stitches can be together. The two fabric can be together on one. Can be together and make it easier for us to fit into the upper bodies. So the next thing we are going to do is to notch it at the 4 area of the 4 points. Though I've notched it before when I was drafting, you fold it into 2 like this equally. Notch it here, then fold it again like this. Mind you, at the second part you're excluding the 1 inch for zip allowance, so we are pushing it aside on 1 inch like this. So you hold it together, you fold it into the 4th folding and notch it like this. We are done with this. We do the same thing to the lining. Fold it into 2. notch it at this point. So the next thing is folding it again, moving out 1 inch for zip allowance. You know, on this part we are moving out 1 inch for zip allowance, like this. So then you notch this part. So the notching means from this part, from this end to the first notching here, everything we are going to do has to end at the first side sewing, the fourth side seam. It has to end here. Everything is going to end here. Everything we are going to do has to end at that point. So the next notching means, let me do something. This center front piece, I'm going to fold it into 2 now and notch the midpoint also. This is the midpoint. So which means, you know, like I said, this is the first notching. Is going to end here at the side or the first side of our fabric. So the next notching, which is this, the notching on the peplum, is going to end at the center, the midpoint of the center front that I just notched. It's going to end there. You know, we have 4 notching there, 4 points there. So the fourth notching, here is the fourth notching, here is the fourth, okay. This is the fourth notching. It's going to end here at this other side of the same allowance, this side. Then the last one, which is this, is going to end here. That is how the point is going to go. So mind you, whatever you're pleating is not, make sure it's not more than what you have. Sorry, let me notch this very well. It's not really showing. So let's start. So we're going to sew it down by 1/2 inch. Going to join it together by 1/2 inch. Mind you, from the tip of the side of the zip to 1 inch, you're going to just join it straight. So then measure 1/2 inch and place it on that point. So we are going to join by 1/2 inch. So this is what I do most of the time. This notching, the first notching, I'm going to hold it to this point so that at the end of my pleats, I don't go off that point. So this is the pleats we have. This is the excess we have here. See, this is the excess we have. So whatever you're pleating, make sure it's not more than what you have here. So this is what I'm going to do. It's just a little box pleats we have there. Just little pleats. Very small. It's not like the other ones we've been doing. So merge it, you pleat it there. You give another here. I'm pleating it on the dart allowance. So I'm pleating it on the dart allowance. So I'm making a key split on that point. So this is it. So I'm going to join it by 1/2 inch. And the next pleat is going to fall to this allowance we have here. So let's go. So for the down part, when we want to get to this side, we'll fold it in like this. And then let's sew it forward a little. Then pleats. So as you can see, the notching is ending at that part. Look at the notching. So make sure you don't pleat more than the allowance you have. So we follow what we have. Another box pleat. Another pleat is going to be at the next dart. So we're going to pleat another one here, which is the center front midpoint that we notch. And the notching, this is the next notching, this part. So it's going to end on that point. So I'm going to go again. The next pleat is going to fall to this point. So we'll pleat again, we'll do the next thing. Hold on, please hold on. In case you don't know, we have an online fashion institute. We are going to teach you full pattern drafting training. We are going to take you from the scratch, how to use your machine, to the climax. You're going to be the best designers in town. For more information, visit our website on www.larichedesigns.com. So that's the end of joining the flare to the fabric. So we are going to do the lining also. So when I was joining the when I started the peplum, I did not start sewing from the tip of the fabric. So I left 1 inch. So I started sewing from that 1 inch all through. But that is a mistake. I need to sew it from the beginning. So what I was thinking is this part. So I was thinking is this part I'm doing. So that was why I left 1 inch also. So we are done with the fabric, with the joining of the fabric together. So the next thing is to join the lining. So the lining and the peplum is going to be this way. Okay, so the joining of the peplum, the lining of the peplum together, the lining together, which is the lining of the upper part and the lining of the peplum, is going to be this way. So it's going to be matched this way. Remember, we've notched it. So we are going to start joining the same way we join the fabric. I mean the Kampala, because it's also the lining is also a fabric too. So I'm going to start the joining of the linings together like this. So I've rolled it together. So I'm going to start sewing by 1/2 inch. The same way we join the Kampala together to the fabric. So remember we started the pleats from the that point. Then the next pleat is going to be on the side. The same way we are going to do the same thing. Just follow the same thing, same steps, same thing. So the notching is ending at the side here. I forgot, so I need to notch the the center front. I need to notch it also. The mid center front. So I'm notching it. Sorry. So we keep sewing like 1/2 inch. So we're still going to pleat here. So fixing the next pleat. So you know it's a key split. So I've done one. This is the next one. So we are done with joining the lining. So we are going to cut the thread, turn it out. Let me cut the thread here, then turn it out. So turn it out this way. So this is the outcome on this side. As you can see, is a concealed sewing. So this is the outcome on this side. And this is outcome on this side. So the next thing now is to fix the zip, then the sleeve. Then we'll call it a day. Let's fix the sleeve. The zip, sorry. So the next thing we are going to do is to fix the zip. So this part of the zip is going to be here. Like I'm going to sew this side to this point of to this part of the fabric. So and I'm going to follow the traces. I'm going to trace it, sew it down by 1 inch, sorry. Then I'm going to measure 1 inch from here. Remember, we are sewing on the fabric, not together with the lining. So measure 1 inch here. Mark our 1 inch. come to this point, mark 1 inch. You come to this point, mark 1 inch, then 1 inch here also. Already we left 1 inch allowance, so 1 inch here also. Then we'll place our zip starting from here. Remember, I'm going to remove the lining. So starting from here, you see, I make sure the teeth. Remember, I'm not starting from here. I started from the ½ inch that I've ironed out. So I'm going to pin it down on that point. Then on this point also, I'm going to pin it down. So I'm going to sew it down now towards the teeth of the zip. So I'm going to sew at the back of the teeth all through. So let's sew it down. Let's go, let's go, let's go. As you can see, I've pushed the lining aside. I'm not sewing it down with the lining. So we are done with this part. I'll cut off the thread, remove the pin, and move to the next part. So let's remove the pin. So the next thing is the other side. Look at the outcome of my zip. Look at the outcome. So close. So the next thing I'm going to do now is to fix the other side. So I'm going to mark 1 in the same way. The zip allowance, I'm going to mark the zip allowance the same way I did for this part. I'm going to do it here. So measure 1 inch. Measure 1 inch here. So now the next thing is to place it. I'm going to place the zip accordingly. So here is going to be here. This part is going to be here. I'll pin it down. And I've told you earlier, we make use of zip a lot. So I'm going to try and pin this side. To this point, it has to align on the other side. It has to match. They have to be on the same page. Let's see if at the end it's going to be on the same page. I think it's going to be on the same page if we sew it very well. So that's that and that. So let's continue. So this is it. So I'm going to sew it down. So you're going to cut the threads, remove the pins, so let's see the outcome on the other side. Before we fix in the lining, let's see if each point aligns. So we have it on the same point here. So we have it here also. So the next thing is to turn out to use the lining to turn out the zip area. But before we can do that, we need to unzip it like this. Then we come through the armhole. We come in through the armhole, turn it out. Turn it out like this. Then we'll fold it in with the allowance. You know, there's 1 inch allowance, half inch allowance here. So we'll fold it in like this. Possible we'll pin it down again. Pinning helps me a lot, so that I would have seen the outcome. I would have know where my mistake is before I sew it down, so that I won't be losing and losing. So this point is facing this point. So you make sure it's not like this, because by the time you sew it down like this, it will give you the outcome is not going to be fine. So let's make sure each point are facing each other. So pin it down at this point. So you can sew it down. So our sewing is going to be close to the first sewing, to the first stitches. So it's going to be close. So let's go. So the next thing we're going to do on this part is to join the neckline of the lining together like this. You know we left one inch from this point to this, so we're going to join it together by ½ inch. So we'll remove the pin at that point. So and sew it together. You can start from here all through, but I decided to start from here to this point. So make sure it's not more than ½ inch. So I'll cut off the threads, then chop off the excess zip. Then we'll do the same thing on the other side. But before we go to the other side, we'll remove the pins. So I've turned it out. So this is going to be the outcome of it. So I'll do the next part now. So I'm going to go in through the armhole, turn it out. To turn it out, So then fold it in the same way we did for the other side. I'm going to fold it in like this, then pin it down. So we're going to sew it down. We'll join it together the same way we join the other side together. So the next thing we are going to do is to join it together. So before we remove the pins, I'm going to sew down the neckline the same way we did. Same way we did, and same way we sew the other side. So I'm going to join it together like this. Continue the stitches by ½ inch. So let's remove this pin. I'm going to cut the threads. Chop off the excess zip. Then you probably chop this off also so that it won't be bulged at the other side. So the next thing is to remove the pins. We're almost done with the blouse. The last thing we are going to fix is just the sleeve. So we are done with the zip. So we turn it out. Then we are almost done. So that is it about the zip part. So the last thing is just the sleeve. So we call this, look at the neckline, so beautiful, look at the back. So that's all about it. So this is the length of the sleeve. I've drafted the sleeve. It's going to be like this. Then we'll have a peplum at this part. Then we'll pleat a peplum to this part and also pleat it to this part of the sleeve. So that makes the long sleeve. So what we are going to do now is the peplum is having a joining, which I'm going to join together because it's a two-piece. So it's in two-piece, so I need to join it together first before we continue sewing. Before we start joining the sleeve, don't worry, it's not going to show. So and cut off the thread. So I'm going to remove the pins here. So this is it. This is the front and this is the back. And this is the back. So what we are going to do now is to pick this part. I'm going to pick this part. Move one of the pieces aside, sorry. I'm moving it aside like this. This is the upper part of the sleeve. This is the front and this is the back. So I'm going to pick one of the flare of the circle. I'm going to pleat it all through this part. But before I move on with that, I'm going to notch the center of this. So it's notched already. It's notched already. So, and the midpoint of the peplum is where I join. So I'm going to start sewing from here. I'm going to join it together by ½ inch. You know, this is this, remember this is the side. This is the side of your sleeve. So I'm going to measure 1 inch for the side allowance, 1 inch. So our pleating is not going to start from the beginning. It's going to start after the 1 inch. So I'm going to mark 1 inch there. Remember, we are going to pleat to this point. This is the midpoint. So we need to manage this remaining allowance on our peplum to pleat to this point. So we'll make sure we manage it. So let's pleat it down. You're sewing, remember, you're sewing down by ½ inch. So it will end at that point. So let's try and manage what we have. And remember, I said 1 inch for zip allowance, for the sewing allowance here. So we are going to stop at that 1 inch point, which is this point. So we'll move into the next one. So we've notched the center already, so let's fix it. So we're going to measure 1 inch for the side seam. So we are done with this part. So the next thing we are going to do is to pleat the down part, this down part on this. So let's go. So we're going to sew it also by ½ inch. Then pleat from the 1 inch point. So remember, this part is the down part. It has to cover up because this down part's circle is fuller. So this is the outcome here. So it's going to be like this. So let's fix in the other side. Before I fix in the other side, let me finish sewing this part. I'm going to turn up this down part by ½ inch. I mean by 1 inch, ½ inch first, then another ½ inch. So we are going to do the other side. So we are joining the other side now. So we are done with the other part of the sleeve. So the next thing is to join it on our bodies. So sorry, the next thing is to turn the other side, the down part by 1 inch. So you fold in ½ inch first and another ½ inch. So next thing I'm going to do now is to join the sides together. So I'm going to join it by 1 inch. You measure 1 inch on this part, mark your 1 inch, and start sewing. So continue with the other one. So the next thing is to join it on the body. So let's join. So the next thing is to join our sleeve to the bodies. So we are going to join it this way. Remember this back part is a little longer than the front. So you hold this part together. You hold this part together like this. So you hold it together like this. You make sure it's equal. Then we trim off the excess from here we trim it off. So we trim it off like that. Then we can fix in our sleeve. So, and I've notched the back. I notched the part that is going to the back of the sleeve. So let's see if this sleeve corresponds with what we have. So this is where I notched. So this is the back, so it does not fit. So let's pick the other one. So this is the part I notched, which is going to the back, and I also notched the center piece that's coming to the shoulder. So now let's fix in the sleeve. But before I fix in the sleeve, I'm used to pinning down, so I'm going to pin the sleeve down all through the armhole. So I've pinned the sleeve round the armhole. This is it. You can see I've pinned it round it. This the joining here is facing the joining of the bust area of this side. So the joining of the sleeve and the joining of the bust, they are on the same point. And the upper part of the sleeve that I notch is on the shoulder. So it's facing the shoulder of the sleeve. So now I'm going to sew it all through by 1/2 inch. So let's be fast with that. 1/2 inch. So I'm done with this part. So I'll remove the pins and move to the next part. So the next sleeve. So let's remove the pins first. So I'll move to the next part of the sleeve. I've also pinned it down. So the next thing is just to start sewing. So look at it. I'm going to sew it down by 1/2 inch. So you're going to fold in this folded part here. So you are done with the other side of the sleeve. The next thing is just to remove the pins and turn it out. So this is it. This is our sleeve. So it's a long sleeve. So that's all about our under bust blouse. Thank you. Thanks for watching this video, and thank you for watching every of our video. We really appreciate you. And don't forget, there will be a giveaway at every point of achievement. Please keep watching, share every of our videos to your loved ones, and don't forget to drop your comments, subscribe if you're yet to subscribe, ask your question, drop any observation. Thanks for watching. Bye.